So this video was supposed to be about me making carnivore bars. You know, something new, something practical, something I could pack with me on the days I go into the office. The idea was solid. I have seen these bars being sold in the United States and I thought, hey, how hard can it be? Well, famous last words. Normally when I cook on this channel I make one or two little mistakes. It happens, but this time I think I made a mistake in literally every single step. Like if you came here expecting a perfect recipe tutorial, no, not gonna happen. What you are about to see is basically a recipe for disaster. Anyway, let me set the stage. I started with 750 grams of ground beef. I was looking for something more lean, since we are going to dehydrate it later. Additionally, I had a few packs of leftover bacon that I wanted to use up. I ended up throwing in about 600 grams. But used around 150 grams just for the bars. And then of course 150 grams of butter. Seemed like a nice and simple plan, right? Beef, bacon, butter. What could possibly go wrong? Well, you will see. Alright, let's get into the cooking. Or what I like to call my journey into chaos. I started with the bacon. And listen, I wasn't about to sit there chopping it into neat little cubes. No, it was too much and I didn't have the patience, so I just grabbed the bacon in chunks and cut them in half once and said it's good enough. Now the method I was trying to follow was something I saw in a Dr. Ken Berry's video. The idea is simple. Throw the bacon in, stir every 3 minutes, let it go for about 20 to 25 minutes, and you will end up with crispy bacon and a nice pool of rendered fat. Easy, right? I added all the bacon, piece by piece, in order to make sure they are not sticking together. Turned the heat to high as I normally would do for bacon, set my timer, and every 3 minutes I stirred like a good little student. 3 minutes in, stir, 6 minutes, stir, 9 minutes, it's sizzling, it smells amazing, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm natural at this. Meanwhile, on the other burner, I've got 750 grams of ground beef crammed into a pan that was clearly not built for that amount of meat. Normally I cook 300 to 400 grams at once, no problem. But this was like watching a clown car unload. Beef was spilling over the edges. I could barely stir it without worrying half of it was going to hit the floor. Somehow I powered through, got it cooked, and strained off all the fat and liquid, because the plan was to dehydrate it later. Back to the bacon. We are about 15 minutes in, I give it another stir, and still everything looks fine. I'm already picturing all the glorious bacon fat that I'm about to collect. Maybe enough to save some for my girlfriend's carnivore challenge, which I made a post about earlier this week. If you haven't seen that, check it out, but long story short, she just came up to me saying that she wants to try carnivore for 30 days. Which took me by a complete surprise, because I remember her saying that she will never do this, although she fully supports my own journey. So if you have some tips, make sure to check the post out on my channel and leave a comment. Now let's get back to the bacon. The 20-minute marker hits. Timer is about to beep. I lift the lid and something is off. Instead of swimming in bacon fat like in Ken Berry's video, I have got strips that look like they are clinging on for dear life. The fat? It's not pulling up. It's just kinda gone. I'm staring at this pot like, wait, where is all my fat? What is happening here? So I go back, recheck the video, and there it is. The one line I skimmed right over. You are supposed to cook the bacon on low heat. And what did I do? Crank that thing up high like I always do in a frying pan. So instead of gently rendering bacon fat for 20 minutes, I had basically been frying the strips into oblivion. At this point I was half tempted to throw in the towel. But no, I decided to own my mistakes. So I turned the heat down, gave it another 10 minutes, kept stirring every 3 minutes and just hoped I could salvage something. In the meantime, the beef went into the air fryer. I put a silicone liner in the air fryer tray, put in all of the ground beef, and set the temperature to 90 degrees Celsius and hit go. Now my air fryer only runs for 60 minutes at a time, so I had to do this in cycles. When the first half an hour went by, I stirred it around. It looked good. The second half an hour, same deal. So total I did this for 2 hours. And while it was definitely dry, crunchy in spots, I should have given it another 20 to 30 minutes. And just to keep the chaos going, my second phone, the one I was using to film some of this, ran out of storage and just shut off mid-disaster. So not only did I have bacon going sideways, beef that wasn't fully dry, but also some of the footage missing. In the end, I pulled the bacon out, set it on a parchment paper so whatever fat was left could drip off, and poured the tiny bit I had managed to save into a jar. Not exactly the jar of liquid gold I was dreaming of, but at least it wasn't a total loss. So yeah, by this point I had fried bacon when I was supposed to render it, overloaded my beef pan, under-dehydrated the mince, and my phone basically rage quit. At this point the video was less of a cooking tutorial and more of an episode of Kitchen Nightmares. But anyways, with the beef mostly dehydrated and the bacon sort of saved, it was time to put everything together. I melted down 150 grams of butter on low heat, gently, nothing fancy, no mistakes, kind of. The plan was simple: get the beef in a tray, layer some bacon on top, pour in the butter, press it all down and stick it in the fridge. Easy, right? Well, mistake number... Honestly, I lost count at this point. As soon as I poured the butter in, I had this sinking feeling. Looking at the mixture, I thought, yeah, this doesn't look like enough fat to hold everything together. But instead of fixing it, instead of just melting more butter, I shrugged and said, it's gonna be fine. Well, spoiler, it was not fine. Anyway, I gave it a stir, pressed it down with a spoon, and into the fridge it went for 4 hours. Now, I would like to say that I waited patiently, but no. The fridge time was up and I pulled the tray out. This was supposed to be the big reveal moment, except it's time for a confession. There was already a piece missing. I had gotten impatient earlier and carved out a chunk off camera just to see if it was edible. Curiosity got the best of me. So when you see the tray, yeah, that empty spot is me. Anyway, I grabbed a knife and started cutting what was left into bars. And you know what? At the first glance, it looked pretty good. Clean cuts, nice edges. For a second there I thought, hold on, did I actually make this work? I lined up the slices and in that moment they almost looked professional. But of course, then I had to pick one up. That's when reality hit me, like a sack of beef. As soon as I lifted the first bar, little chunks started crumbling off the sides. I kept cutting, showing you each angle, each slice, and each time I thought maybe this one would hold up better. No, same story, still crumbling. I mean, the bottom was holding up well, you know, the part where there was actually butter to hold it together. So that was also a sign that it would have worked out as long as I trusted my senses with the measurements. But still, looks aren't everything. I've wrapped a few of them in parchment paper for the next day, and despite their crumbly personality, they were portable. They held together long enough to get them into the paper, and that was good enough for me. If we talk about the taste, honestly, I was pretty impressed. The flavor was amazing. The beef had this salty crunch from the dehydration, the bacon added a smoky kick, and the butter made it rich and satisfying. It's like if beef jerky and fudge had a weird carnivore baby. Not exactly what I pictured, but still delicious. Now the downside, the mess. Every bite left bits behind. This was a two-handed, keep a napkin nearby type of a situation. So yeah, I will call them tasty, but messy. Kind of like me in the kitchen. Now let's talk about the lessons learned. Lesson number 1. Watch the full tutorial before trying a new technique. Don't be like me. Skimming is not a strategy. If I would have just watched Ken Berry say low heat, I would have had a jar full of glorious bacon fat instead of crispy regret. Lesson number 2. Trust your instincts. If you are pouring butter into a tray of beef and it looks like there isn't enough, Guess what? There isn't enough. Add more. Don't shrug and say, it's gonna be fine. Because it won't be fine. Lesson number 3. Maybe use ghee next time. Butter tastes amazing, but it softens too fast. Ghee sets firmer, melts slower, and probably would have saved me from this crumbling fiasco. Now for the numbers. Even in disaster mode, each bar came out to about 540 calories, 36 grams of protein, and 46 grams of fat. And just to conclude, I want to keep making these, maybe even weekly, because now I know what went wrong. I feel like I can nail it on the second try. Or maybe at least make a fewer mistakes. I'm already thinking of some tweaks, adding more butter, maybe mixing in bacon fat, maybe using leaner beef so the dehydration is more reliable. So yeah, this was supposed to be a recipe for carnivore bars. What I ended up with was a recipe for disaster. But you know what? I kinda loved it. It was fun, it was tasty. So let me know in the comments, what would you do differently? And don't say everything. I mean, like, different meat. Would you have given up on the bacon? Or doubled down? I've also seen honey as an option. Have you tried that? Do you include honey in your diet? Or maybe you have got a secret trick that I should try. Because I am definitely not done experimenting with this one. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like, comment, and I'll meet you here next time on Meat Carnivore.